back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So I am here today to talk about some books that I recently got sent and a few that I bought myself. So this is kind of a mini book haul, only a couple of things to talk about. But I wanted to also touch on Super Relaxed Fantasy Club, which if you haven't heard of it, it is a club for anyone. Anyone can come along, and it's in London. It's held in London once a month for basically anyone who's interested in like fantasy and science fiction. It's a really chilled out book club because you don't have to actually read any books, you just go along and there's always authors who do readings there, and it's a really fun event. So I think you can find it on Facebook if you're interested in going. I've been to 2 so far and I've really enjoyed them, and the mix of people there is great. It always changes because sometimes people can go and sometimes they can't, and the mix of authors has been really good so far as well. So talking about Super Relaxed Fantasy Club, I actually got 2 of these things from Super Relaxed Fantasy Club. One of them is not a book because the book is not out yet, but it is book related, and that is this, which is a poster. And this is the poster. It is a book cover for The Bells, which is by Donnell Clayton, I think her name is, and she signed it for me, as you can see on the actual poster. And it's huge and it's gorgeous and it's absolutely a lovely poster. But the reason I wanted this is because the author did a reading from this book, which does come out February next year, I believe, in the US. I'm not sure what publisher it is in the UK yet, but hopefully I'll find out nearer the time. I'm really excited for this book because the way she read it out, it reminded me a lot of Scott Westerfeld's Ugly series, if you guys have heard of that. I loved that series when I was a teenager. I thought it was like super fun, super interesting, and had a lot of great ideas. It talks a lot about manipulation of beauty and how young girls see themselves and often want to change themselves. It talks a lot about media and influence of the different sort of media outlets on young teenage women, and I just really enjoyed the Ugly series, and this kind of sounds like it's in a similar vein. The author actually mentioned that series when she was talking about this, and this is set in a world where you can change yourself right down to your bones if you visit someone called, I think they're called the Bells, and they're kind of like witch doctors. They can kind of change you, but it's at a price, and it's at a very high price. So you have to basically earn an awful lot of money to be able to maintain the beauty standards that are kind of just expected in this world. And we follow a young girl who is going through that, and in this instance I think she is a young black girl, and obviously the poster and the cover represents that. She's also described by the author as someone who's not that likeable as a character, which I do kind of enjoy, unlikable characters. The extract she read from the book was beautiful, like the wording, the way she described things, it was gorgeous. So I'm really excited about this book, and I don't get that excited for YA that often, but this one I'm really excited for. So this comes out in February next year, and on the back of the poster there is the first 2 chapters of the book. So I've not actually read them yet. She read out I think the first chapter, which was really good, and I definitely want to keep an eye out for this book coming in the future. But I'll put a picture of what the actual cover looks like for you guys to see it, because it is gorgeous and one to watch out for, I guess. So just wanted to let you guys know about that and say that I really enjoyed the author reading it, so it might be one that you guys are interested in as well. Continuing on the theme of Super Relaxed Fantasy Club, I actually picked up one of the books that they were selling there. Queen's Park Books is a bookshop in London where I have been before. They do some really great fantasy events because one of the people who works there, Laura, is fantastically into fantasy, and she stocks up the fantasy and science fiction section brilliantly. If you ever get a chance to go visit them, I would highly recommend them. I'll put a link to them down below. But she was there, and she's a good friend of mine, and she was selling some of the books for Queen Park Books, and this was one of the books she was selling, and she really highly recommended it and described it to me as Black Swan on crack, I think is what she said, or like a even more twisted version of Black Swan. So like a ballet in a ballet school and lots of drama in it, all that sort of stuff. So it sounded really good, and this is actually written by the same author who writes The Bells and her co-author Sonia Cherapiotra. I'm probably saying that really wrong, but I picked this one up, I bought this, and I'm definitely excited to read it because she recommended it to me and she said it was great, and then I again got this one signed by the author because she was there, so why not? So just got a signature in there too. And she was giving out these little badges alongside the book, which I think is super cute, so I got one of those as well. Another book that I recently got sent by the publisher is the second one in a series. I've not actually read the first one in this series yet, although I have heard very good things about it, and that is the Gilded Cage series. This one's called Tarnished City, and it's by Vic James, who coincidentally was also at Super Relaxed Fantasy Club, and I met her there and she was lovely. So I definitely want to give her series a go, and now that I've been sent this, I feel like I should. It's a sign. This one comes out on 7th of September, so really soon. It's a beautiful edition, as you can see. The first one was also really beautiful, and I don't know an awful lot more about it than that because I haven't read the first one, but I think it's set in a sort of different time period. I know when we were walking through London, the author was looking at all the buildings and she was like, oh, this is so cool. It's like really evocative and kind of sparks your imagination. So from the vibe of her going through London talking about things and the buildings and the architecture, I imagine this series is going to have lots of really great descriptions and lots of really interesting world building and stuff too. Honestly, I don't know a lot more than that, but I have seen other people review this and say it was really good, the first one in this series, so I will definitely try and get to this very soon, especially since the second book is now out and I've not read the first. I feel ashamed. I should go and read the first. Moving on to a couple of other books that I got sent. The first one is a science fiction that I haven't heard of, but Orbit sent this one out to me. It's called The Eternity War, and it's book one, Pariah. I never say that word right. Is it Pariah? I guess so. Jamie Sawyer is the author. Never heard of him. I don't know if this is... Oh no, he's done the Lazarus War books, so I guess he's already an established author. It says, fight, die and fight again. The soldiers of the Simulant Operations Program are mankind's elite warriors, veterans of 1,000 battles across 100 worlds. They undertake suicidal missions to protect humanity from the insidious Krell Empire and the mysterious machine race known as the Shard. Lieutenant Kira Jenkins is an experienced simulant operative and the leader of the Jackals, a new team of raw recruits keen to taste battle. They soon get their chance when the Black Spiral terrorist network seizes control of a space station. Yet no amount of training could have prepared the Jackals for the deadly conspiracy they soon find themselves drawn into, a conspiracy that is set to spark a furious new war across the galaxy. It sounds pretty intense, actually. That sounds like my kind of science fiction. I might have to give this one a try. Let me know if you've read any of this author's other books and what you thought of them, because I hadn't heard of him till now, but apparently he's got another series too, so let me know if you've read it. And speaking of authors that I have already read, I have been very lucky to get an advanced reader copy of Artemis, which is the new book coming out from Andy Weir. I think it's a standalone again, I'm not certain. But it's definitely a beautiful cover. Like, look at this, it is gorgeous. This is obviously the ARC cover, and the actual cover is going to look more like this with the title on the cover, but it's just gorgeous, like totally gorgeous. I've heard mixed things from other reviewers who've read this book or who've started it. They've said maybe it isn't quite as good as The Martian. I'm going to go into it and try and separate the two in my head because I know it's not a follow-on or part of the same series. It's like completely new. I think this one follows a female main character, so I'm interested for sure. It says on the back, welcome to Artemis, the first city on the moon, population 2,000, mostly tourists, some criminals. And that's all it really says. I got this really nice little card with the actual cover on it as well. And then inside I also got this little leaflet, which is kind of like a tourist leaflet to get you to come and visit Artemis. So it says, try out one of our many casinos, restaurants or pubs. Artemis has many fine markets for all your needs. Head to the Aldrin Bubble to enjoy our casinos or our high-end bars. If you're looking for a quiet drink, check the many cozier pubs on the Conrad Bubble. Fair warning, reconstituted beer and alcohol taste different than the drinks you've had on Earth. And it talks a lot more about all the other sort of attractions that they have. Book your hotel in advance. Park accordingly. Every kilogram that you bring with you costs 1,000 SLGs, I don't know what that is, to transport. Bear that in mind whilst packing. It's quite a fun little bit of swag, I suppose. It talks about like paying to get there, and yeah, it sounds a bit funny, and it seems like Artemis is a space station and people can go there and visit, but I'm guessing there's a lot more to it than just that. So I'm excited. I'm tentatively excited about it because I hope it's going to be good. I love the black edges on it too. I'll let you guys know about this one. I think this one comes out 14th of November in the UK, so fairly soon. I'm hoping I'll definitely get to it before then, and I'll have a review up for you guys. And hopefully it's a positive one, fingers crossed. I don't want it to be another case of Ernest Cline where the second book just wasn't that good compared to the first. So fingers crossed this is really good. And the final one that I got sent for review is this one. It's called Sea of Rust by C. Robert Cargill. And this one sounds really similar to the plot of Descender, the comic series by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. And I love Descender, the comic book series. So when I heard about this one and I saw what the blurb said about it, I was like, if it's anything like Descender, I'm gonna need it. Because I think it follows a sort of solar system where humanity's been wiped out by the machines that were built to serve them. And then the world is controlled by one-world intelligences, vast mainframes that have assimilated the minds of millions of robots, which sounds totally crazy already. But not all the robots are willing to cede their individuality, and Brittle, a loner and scavenger focused solely on survival, is one of the holdouts. So it follows this individual robot, Brittle. I guess that Brittle meets some other robots who kind of have a battle with him, and he gets critically injured, and then he has to try and get to the next safe place, and it's kind of an ongoing trial to stay individual and away from the hive mind, I suppose. It sounds really, really cool actually, and I'm definitely looking forward to giving it a try. So let me know your thoughts on this if you've heard anything about it or if you've read any of this author's other work. Apparently he actually wrote Doctor Strange, the film, like co-wrote the film, so that's pretty cool. And he's got another novel called Dreams and Shadows as well. And this one comes out on the 7th of September, so very, very soon as well. Looking forward to giving it a try. Let me know if you have heard anything about this. So that is everything I have in this little book haul. It was just a small one, but I think I've rambled long enough all the same. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know in the comments which ones you are most excited for me to read. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.